各位记者朋友，大家。
Welcome to today's press conference. Now the floor is open to questions. China announced this morning that President Xi Jinping will attend the BRICS summit in South Africa. Strengthening BRICS cooperation and BRICS expansion are two topics that have received much attention. In particular, could you share with us China's expectation for the summit? The upcoming summit will be the first in-person BRICS summit in more than 3 years and the first BRICS summit to be held in Africa in 5 years. Since its establishment, BRICS has remained true to its founding purpose of seeking strength through solidarity, upheld the spirit of openness, inclusiveness, and win-win cooperation, and deepened practical cooperation in various fields. It has become important for striving global governance reform and taken on increasing international influence. Under the theme of BRICS and Africa Partnership for Mutually Accelerated Growth, Sustainable Development, and Inclusive Multilateralism, the summit will carry forward the sound momentum of cooperation from the BRICS China Year 2022 and plan for a brighter future for BRICS. All sides will have in-depth exchange of views on prominent global challenges, enhance coordination and collaboration in international affairs, inject stability and positive energy into today's world, and contribute wisdom and strength to world peace and development. They will discuss ways to further deepen and substantiate BRICS cooperation, including practical cooperation in such fields as economy and trade, finance, security, people-to-people and cultural exchanges, and global governance, and provide guidance for this mechanism's sustained steady growth. They will also seek to strengthen dialogue and cooperation between BRICS and Africa and other EMDCs and send a strong message of safeguarding multilateralism and focusing on common development. Next one, please. This year marks the 25th anniversary of diplomatic relations between China and South Africa. A South African scholar said that this relationship has entered a golden age at this important historical juncture. What's China's expectation for this relationship, and what outcomes do you expect from this visit? During the visit, President Xi will exchange views with President Ramaphosa on bilateral relations and international and regional issues of mutual interest and draw a blueprint for the growth of bilateral relations. The visit will provide strong impetus for building a high-level China-South Africa community with a shared future. South Africa is China's comprehensive strategic partner and the first African country joint Belt and Road cooperation. In the past 25 years, this relationship has achieved leapfrog development and reached far beyond the bilateral scope and increasingly bears global significance. In recent years, in particular under the joint care and planning of our two presidents, China-South Africa relations have maintained high-level development with political mutual trust, practical cooperation, culture and people-to-people exchanges, and strategic coordination continuing to deepen. As a South African scholar said, China-South Africa relations have entered a golden age, and the future holds great promise for the relationship. No matter how the international landscape may change, China will not change its commitment to deepening friendship and enhancing solidarity and cooperation with South Africa. We would like to work with South Africa to continue to support each other on issues concerning each other's core interests and major concerns, jointly pursue development and revitalization, and make a positive contribution to a multipolar world and greater democracy in international relations. We believe that with the concerted efforts of our two sides, the China-South Africa Comprehensive Strategic Partnership will achieve new, greater development. Next one, please. We noted that this upcoming BRICS summit has invited many African countries to attend the BRICS Plus summit activities, and China and South Africa will co-host the China-Africa Leaders Dialogue. What is the consideration for this arrangement? Looking ahead, what will China and Africa do to build an even closer China-African community with a shared future? Solidarity and cooperation with African countries is an important cornerstone of China's foreign policy and our long-standing rock-firm strategic choice. During the upcoming BRICS summit, President Xi and South African President Ramaphosa will co-chair the China-Africa Leaders Dialogue. The African culture of the FOCAC, chairperson of the AU, and representatives of the regional economic communities in Africa have been invited invited to the event. During the dialogue, under the theme of promoting African integration and jointly building a high-level China-Africa community with a shared future, the two sides will have in-depth exchanges on the ways to work together to advance their modernization and foster a peaceful, just, and open environment for development, carrying forward the spirit of China-Africa friendship and cooperation, and aiming for tangible cooperation outcomes. China and Africa will create an even better future for Chinese and African people and set an exemplary model for advancing the building of community with a shared future for mankind. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。日本共同社
Kyoto News. The U.S.-Japan Oracle Summit will be held in the U.S. today, and it is expected that the three sides will agree to strengthen cooperation in the areas of security. What is China's response?
In the face of turbulent international security landscape, all parties should uphold the vision of a common security community, uphold true multilateralism, and respond to all kinds of security challenges. No country should seek its own security at the cost of undermining other countries' security interests or undermining regional peace and stability. I believe the international community will see who is creating tensions or heightening conflicts. The Asia-Pacific is a highland of peace and development and hotland for cooperation and development. It should not become a wrestling ground for geopolitical rivalry. Any attempt to piece together exclusive small blocks or small circles or bring bloc confrontation or military group into the Asia-Pacific will not succeed and will be opposed by regional countries, and regional countries will stay on high alert against this. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。环球时报记者提问：非盟和经合组织联合法。
The African Union and the OECD jointly released Africa's Development Dynamics 2023, believing China is leading the world's investment to Africa. This is currently released by AU Commission and OECD. The report said that from 2017 to 2020, China's direct Greenland investment to Africa accounted for 74 billion, accounting for 18% of Africa's total Greenland investment. China is the largest investor in East Africa and is also among the top 3 investors in other regions, together with Europe and the United States, with a focus on manufacturing, electricity, and engineering. Was China's comment? We noted this report: Africa is a continent of hope and heartland for investment. China's investment there meets the local needs, is mutually beneficial, and has delivered benefits to our two peoples. In recent years, under the guidance and commitment of our two leaders, China-African Investment Cooperation has achieved substantial progress. First, China's investment to Africa increases steadily and boasts bright prospects. In the first half of this year, China's new FDI to Africa reached $1.82 billion, up by 4.4% year-on-year, showing stronger confidence of Chinese enterprises in the Africa market. Now, more than 3,000 Chinese enterprises have established in Africa, and more than 70% of them are private ones, becoming a major force driving China's investment there. With the accelerated advancement of the AFCFTA, Chinese enterprises will enjoy more convenience and opportunities in their African endeavor, and high-quality China-Africa cooperation will enjoy greater dynamism. Second, China's and Africa's developments are complementary, and China's investment in Africa is broad in scope and more diverse in ways. Africa enjoys great natural resources and huge demographic dividend. Its integration progress and FTA building are faster in pace. Investment promotion program is one of the 9 programs proposed at the FOCAC Dhaka conference. China is accelerating the implementation of the outcomes of this conference by setting up China-Africa Private Investment Promotion Center, China-Africa Cross-Border RMB Center, and releasing Chinese investment in Africa reports. China is providing convenience guidance for Chinese investment there, and has increased investment efficiency. We are happy to see that China's investment there is broader and now covers S&T, finance, e-commerce, and other emerging industries, equity investment, and and A are new ways for China's investment. Third, China-Africa investment cooperation mutually beneficial and has boosted each other's modernization. China is accelerating the building of a new development paradigm, and Chinese enterprises' investment in Africa will help build a smoother and more stable global industrial chain. While achieving their own development, Chinese enterprises have aligned with Africa's development strategy and delivered on their social responsibilities. At the same time, China has enhanced technology transfer to Africa, local procurement and personnel training to assist the modernization of Africa's agriculture, manufacturing and service industry, has made great contribution to African countries' social stability and development and revitalization. It's common responsibility of the international community to support Africa's development. We welcome increased international attention and input to Africa. As always, we will welcome more capable and reputable Chinese enterprises to invest their investment there to assist Africa's sustainable development and their endeavor to pursue modernization and prosperity. Next question, please.
Hi, I have a question from AFP. Russia's defense ministry said today that Russian and Chinese warships have been conducting joint maritime patrols in the East China Sea. Can you share any details about these joint patrols? Have they ended or are they ongoing? Thank you.
法新社提问：俄罗斯防长称，俄罗斯和中国的军舰正在中国的东海进行联合巡航，您是否能够介绍更多细节？这一巡航是否已经结束，还是正在进行？
The passing of Chinese and Russian vessels in this area is consistent with international law and established international practice. Next one, please.
Dragon TV, at a recent academic seminar held in Danjiang, Heilongjiang Province, the original file of the First Army Hospital of the Japanese Army in Harbin met the public for the first time. The file provides important historical evidence for the involvement of the hospital of the Japanese Army in the crime of vivisection. What is your comment? During World War II, in blatant violation of the international law, the Japanese Army launched horrendous bacterial warfare against the Chinese people. They conducted barbaric human experimentation and committed heinous crimes against humanity during their aggression against China. The historical file you mentioned is yet another piece of solid proof of the bacterial warfare launched by Japanese militarists. There is no room for denial. Japan needs to earnestly face up to and reflect on its history of militarist oppression, draw lessons from it, root out the toxic legacy of militarism, and never let history repeat itself. Next one, please.
According to Japanese media, Asahi TV, flights between North Korea and Beijing are set to resume as early as next week. Can you confirm this, please? Thank you.
路透社提问：日本朝日电视台报道称，朝鲜和北京之间的航班最快将于下周恢复，您是否能够证实？
I have no information to offer at this moment. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。中国
Recently, foreign media reported that China is creating an airstrip on the Zhongjian Island, and what's the purpose for building this airstrip? First of all, I need to point out that relevant reports are inconsistent with facts. Zhongjian Island is part of China's Xisha Islands and is part of China's inherent territory. What China has done on the island is consistent with international law and is beyond reproach. Next one, please.
发言人好，澎湃新闻记者提问。
The paper
reported that the U.S. Defense Ministry released the 2023 biodefense posture review listing China as a key long-term threat. It questioned China's compliance with international convention prohibiting biowarfare and raised concerns about China's research and activities with potential dual-use applications. Was China's comment? We noted the reports out of geopolitical motives. The U.S. often made up so-called threats and used this as an opportunity to contain and suppress other countries and perpetuate its selfish interests as a hegemony. Such move contravened the trend of the time and harmed the common interests of international community. Biosecurity is a global issue. The U.S. move to fabricate lies and stoke confrontation seriously harmed the biosecurity governance system with the BWC as the cornerstone and undermine global joint efforts in response to biosecurity risks and challenges. Speaking of the biosecurity risks, we all know that the U.S. has conducted more biosecurity activities and has more doubtful points in this area than any other country. In recent years, the U.S. has yet to give a meaningful response to these concerns. For example, has the U.S. been secretly developing its biological warfare capabilities even after it joined the BWC? What is U.S. truly up to by investing in what is called biodefense? Has the U.S. taken advantage of other countries to conduct activities that are inconsistent with the BWC and its domestic laws? What purpose have the biometric data and samples the U.S. collects from around the world been used for? Why has the U.S. been the only country that continues to oppose establishing a bioweapon verification mechanism? As long as these questions remain unanswered, it is impossible for the international community to have any confidence in the U.S.'s compliance, and safeguarding global biosecurity will be a non-starter. China supports continued international review of U.S. compliance issues and again calls on the U.S. to earnestly fulfill its international obligations. I would like to reiterate here that China will continue to be guided by the Global Security Initiative and work with the international community to firmly uphold the authority of international law in the field of biosecurity, improve global biosecurity governance, and deal with biosecurity risks and challenges. Next one, please.
还有其他的问题吗？
Are there any more questions?
CCTV. It was reported that during August 12th to the 18th, Deputy Leader of China's Taiwan region, Lai Ching-te, stopped over in New York and San Francisco. What's your comment? The U.S. insisted on arranging 2 stopovers for Lai Ching-te. This has seriously violated the One China principle and undermined China's sovereignty and territorial integrity and sent a gravely wrong signal to Taiwan independent separatist forces. China firmly opposes and strongly condemns this. The One China principle is a prevailing consensus among the international community and a basic norm governing international relations. It is also a prerequisite and basis for the establishment and development of diplomatic ties between China and the U.S. In the 3 China-U.S. joint communiques, the U.S. made a clear commitment of maintaining only unofficial relations with Taiwan. As the deputy leader of the Taiwan region, Lai describes himself as a pragmatic worker for Taiwanese independence. What he said and did in the U.S. over the past few days proved once again that he is a Taiwan independent separatist through and through. By allowing him to engage in political activities in the U.S., propagate separatist propositions for Taiwan independence, and use it to upgrade official interaction and substantive relations with Taiwan, the U.S. has once again exposed its calculations of saying one thing but doing another, allowing a strategy of using Taiwan to contain China and fudging and calling out the One China principle. The Taiwan question is the core of the core interests of China, the bedrock of the political foundation of China-U.S. relations, and the first red line that must not be crossed in China-U.S. relations. Taiwan independence and cross-strait peace and stability are as irreconcilable as fire and water. The pursuit of Taiwan independence will lead nowhere. Those who connive at and support Taiwan independence will eventually get burned. China again urges the U.S. to abide by the One China principle and the 3 China-U.S. joint communiques, honor its commitment of not supporting Taiwan independence or 2 Chinas or 1 China, 1 Taiwan, stop all forms of official interaction with Taiwan, stop upgrading its substantive exchanges with the region, stop conniving at and supporting separatist forces seeking Taiwan independence and their separatist activities, and stop obscuring and hauling out the One China principle. China must be reunified and will surely be reunified. Any attempt to of holding back China's reunification is doomed to fail. China will take strong measures to defend its sovereignty and territorial integrity. Next one, please.
还有其他的问题吗？
Are there any more questions from the floor? Then that's the end of today's press conference. Wish you have a happy weekend.